Good morning. It's another week again here on Vacancy with Alibaba, and of course, my co-host is here, Ini Abimbola.
Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome on the show.
All right. So we have someone is standing in for EVA today.
Okay. My name is Benga Totoi, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Totoi is what was the full the last name? Because here you hear somebody Benga. It must either Olu Benga, Ade Benga. What's the full?
That's it actually.
That's Benga. And the surname?
That Benga, then surname is Totoi.
Is Oluwatoyi?
Nothing actually. There's a small story to it.
No, there's always a story to the African name.
But it's Totoi.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming. He's standing in for EVA. Okay. And then Remy.
Remy Dairo is my name. Okay. I'm excited to be here again.
Well done.
Thank you.
Remy is a productivity expert, and today we were looking at the health. The 360 of health in the employment space for staff, management, and everybody that works in the labor market. What is the HMO status of your organization? What is the health insurance status? What is the structure for sick leave? We applaud the fact that some companies have started giving paternal leave.
Oh yeah,
it's a new thing now. Yeah.
It's a new thing.
Duration is still short though.
Yeah, how many days? 1 week?
4 days.
Okay.
See 4 days, see 2
We have
days.
to, dress the pamper.
We are all in the work
Preparing for naming ceremony.
Sleep nights together.
We have to carry the baby when they are
Which baby are you carrying?
when the woman is sleeping.
And then what is the limit of insurance that you can give to staff? Okay. They put it across. But a friend of mine said he had to remove appendicitis. His appendix had to remove. He had appendicitis issues and had to remove his appendix. And they told him because he's a driver. He's driver. They couldn't pay for all of it. So
that's the level of the
yes, there's a level for some people, and so he had to fill up and make up the difference for his driver for that. And then we also talk about how these health issues affect productivity, which is why Remy is here. There's another issue which is utmost good faith. Some people will not tell you their health status. Just because they want work.
Get the job.
When they get the job and then they begin to deal with it. I know there's some organizations that say they won't employ you if you're still having children.
Yes.
Yeah. And some even sack once you get pregnant. Okay.
I mean, those are key HR issues.
Oh yeah, they are.
Okay. So those are the things that we want to talk about today. Then duration of maternity leave. Some companies will give you 2 months. Some will give you 1 month. After that.
Some are doing 4 months.
That's half the year gone now.
I'm telling you.
Which becomes a concern for most employers, and then they stylishly avoid hiring women or women who are closer to getting married and all of that. People do all these mental calculations and would rather hire older people who are
Are you about to get married now? Are you getting a baby? When are you going? So the calculation is going on when they're doing the interview.
Okay. So truly, before we dive into this, what is the role of health and productivity in the labor space?
Good. In 1990, there's an act, it's called the Factory Act and Labor Law, which says that every employer of labor in Nigeria, employer of labor must take care of the safety and the protection of health of the workers. It's a law on ground. But I read through the act yesterday and I was just smiling because it's good on paper. Talking about the environment, talking about giving them food, even water. There must be water around, area of risk, and trying to help the work. There must not be any injury, in the workplace and all that. But talking about health, it's much more than just having just be physically okay.
Yes.
The mind also is very important. Yes. So I see beyond just appearing at work. And I say this, productivity has gone beyond just appearing at work. You can appear at work and you're not working. I mean, a ghost, or even you click in and then you are not really working. So you want me to appear? Then I am here. I'm on my desk, and then nothing is moving. So organization must be able to look beyond just providing the environment, going internal environment. That's my definition. How does this person feel? Because happiness is one of the key to productivity in organization. If the worker is very excited, is happy, going to work, productivity will move on. Then food, eating. You must not starve your staff.
Okay, so every office must have a canteen or have.
There should be. It's part of. It should be part of the package. I mean, if it's not within your organization, there should be a place nearer or closer where they can get food, and there must be break time.
But you know, the other thing is that if the canteen or where they eat is out of the office, there's downtime.
Yes.
Yes.
But if it's within the office, you just take turns. Maybe 4 people go, and then the others come. Then the next 4 people will go, or get served on their tables.
I think you also. I mean, we're talking about this as an ideal, and let's remember that we have small businesses who take a huge chunk of the market the economy, and the employment space. So how many small businesses can afford to have, you know, canteens or eating places within? I'm not talking about a kitchenette where the staff can eat if they bring their food, but, you know, like a canteen in-house. And then you talk about the Labour Act. I think one of the issues that we'll be talking on this show in the coming weeks is also about the Labour Act, because the Labour Act needs to be revisited. The Labour Act you're quoting is really, and if you look at the Labour Act holistically, you will see that it really focuses on factory workers and technical people, not on professional. The Labour Act does not take notes.
Because the professionals
of
are not
admin
laboring.
and
the professionals are not laboring. Those ones go to work. There's a difference between labor and laboring.
So we should have a work act.
I mean, we have to remember when these acts were developed. They were developed by people who were in those manufacturing environments. The major supply of labor in the environment were, I mean, the factories and all of that. But I think what is required is that we need to go back, and professionals or the workers or laborers need to begin to lay demand on government, because some of these things can't be changed except at policy level.
Okay. Now, there's some vacancy we read some time back said they wanted HSC staff, health, safety, and environment. So all of this, does it mean like, because you go to some factories, you see people walking around without helmets.
Yes.
And head protection. Shouldn't be. Okay. Shouldn't that be? And then people who work in places where heavy equipment are dropping, no safety boots.
Shouldn't be.
So sometime back we saw, I think there was a case of a man who had worked somewhere and a mill cut his hand, and some Indian-owned company. And then when we come back, we'll talk about the issues and dangers that are involved in the health sector and the labor market. We'll be right back. Okay. Don't mind this productivity expert. All right. So before we went on the break, I was telling a story about a friend of mine whose wife had an issue with her husband. Works in a factory. And she's a police officer, but the husband works in a factory. And in the process of trying to grab a plastic, felt plastic, the mill, the conveyor belt, took his hand and lost his hand nearly up to the elbow. Wow. And in discharge, was paid 150,000 naira.
To do what?
Because the Compensation Act, what does the Compensation Act say, and when was it written?
So it means that this, because as they say, a lot of people, I don't know whether you heard about it, they said the foreigners, the Asians, Lebanese, Indians, take advantage of the weak.
Because they know, because where they come from, every of the things is guarded and guided by the law. Yes. So there are certain employment, criteria that are done. I mean, recently I had to really, for some issues that came up within my organization, had to look at the labor law. And there are some things that even you as a human being, first as a human being, you will shudder to think that, I mean, if I took this kind of decision according to the law, what's going to happen to the people walking around me? And so people take advantage of that. And we see a lot of these issues. So it's still back to the health of the workers. We see a lot of these issues. You know, most of these factories around the country, they employ underage people. They don't pay them well. Nobody, they take a lot of casual workers and pay them peanuts. There are no protection, like you said, no safety helmets, no boots, no overalls, no instruction manual as to what should you do when the plastic gets into the machine. Should you stop the machine? Should you pull out? Like you said, if he doesn't pull out that plastic, it will be deducted from his money. I mean, who is looking out for so we talk about employment, but people want to be employed, but
you want to be safe.
At the same time, they have to be safe and they have to be healthy.
Okay. When you employ someone and the person is asking for sick leave every now and then, because you know, no, because people who have sickle cell issues would always be getting ill. Should you now consider not employing those people, or we're talking off record before we came on air of my guy who found out that his driver was epileptic.
On the job.
On the job. He was just sitting down, and when he called him, oh, get so and so, the guy got up with a start and fell. So he even thought he hit his head. But it was when he was now foaming in the mouth and that he knew that it was an epileptic fit. But it's not in his application letter. So how do you deal with that?
I mean, I want to pick up on one of the things you mentioned. Provisions around employment, contracts, manuals, and all of that. I think it's even as basic as you get a job, there should be an offer letter supported with a job description that shows you, your offer letter tells you, it's like a contract between yourself and your employer, and it shows you the provisions and the things you can have access to. And people should actually know that it is wrong for you to employ someone and not give an offer letter within 90 days. By the 91st day, the person can sue you as an employer. Yeah.
In Nigeria, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can be sued. And
do you know how long casual workers? Some people are casual for 3 years.
Yes.
Now, there's been changes in the industry. Some employees are becoming aware of these provisions. And a few lawyers are actually approaching them. Even when you exit someone from your organization, you didn't do it properly. Some lawyers are coming to you and saying, oh boy, tell me, how are you disengaged? I can help you get money from the organization. And they are winning some of these little cases. So it's important that we tell our listening audience that you get a job, house help, driver, or whatever, demand for an offer letter that tells you this is what you are hired to do. Because part of that mental health issue is the fact that as an employer, I hold you, an employee, the provision of work. But that work must also be what you can do and what is, I'm looking for that word now, what you deserve to do. So don't employ a graduate and be asking them to go buy Google. It has a mental implication on that person. But having done that, also show the provisions. Or in this organization, you have access to this health cover and things like that. And that's where I think there are gray areas. So with HMOs, you typically have a cap or a cover. So you see people say, this provision only allows you to bring in 2 family members, 3 family members. And that's where some senior people hide their support staff, like drivers and stuff like that. But you need to then look at the provisions to say, so for my driver or my house help, what can they have access to? And at that point, you can make demands for some tweaks or even offer to pay an additional premium. Because what you don't want is that kind of case. It happens, you are not covered, who bears the cost, where is insurance, and some of those other things. And a number of HMOs are becoming a bit more dynamic and saying, tell us your peculiar situation, and we'll adapt the provision for you.
Do HMOs cover like epilepsy or HIV?
At certain level, yes.
So,
at certain level, yes, but the premium will be different.
In this case, like, I mean, the question Ali asks is, so you employ someone, and then there's no part of the employment conversation that says, I have epilepsy, I can be driving you and I will have epilepsy and it will come. Well, and then this issue again, I mean, we talked about it as well, where, so taking drivers, for example, a large percentage of them cannot see properly. But
so should they do an eye test?
So should the company do...
Is it okay? No, hold on. No. Is it okay to tell a driver to do an eye test? Because most times, you find... I posted something on Facebook like about 6 years ago of my friend who took her daughter's maid for test and found out that she had HIV. And so I now said, please make sure you check all these. People came at me. It is invasion of the person's privacy.
Oh, no. You should do an employment test comprehensive before you go ahead and actually issue an offer letter.
Okay.
Now, the trick there
for
is...
For domestic staff or for professional staff?
I will honestly say both.
Okay. There's a call from VI. Hello?
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Mr. Alibaba.
Good morning. You're welcome to Vacancy with Alibaba. We have Remy Benga and Ini here.
Yeah, thank you very much for the job well done, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to the whole Nigerian to look what is going on in the factory of the truth.
Okay.
My brother, God will bless you people. Because those Lebanese and Indians are using our people very, very wrongly. Even at Ogun State, even some companies. So it's better you highlight the people so that they know what's going on.
Don't you people have health insurance?
Yeah.
There is the union there, they are taking bribes, so they are not doing their work.
Okay. So union is not protecting them.
Union have been bought over. So.
And sometimes...
thank you for calling.
Sometimes the organization will call the union leaders and then bribe them, give them money.
But Remy and Genga, it is still back to the issue. If there's a law,
back to the law.
But there's a law, but who monitors the implementation?
What does the law say? Because I can hide under a law that is not effective and that really was done in 1917.
But let's look at it like this. The law said that every senator, every senator, when they were near Tinubu Square, when the National Assembly was near Tinubu Square, their furniture allowance was 25 naira.
Then,
25 naira.
It's been reviewed.
Wait now, the furniture allowance was 25 naira. And for House of Reps, then the senators were getting 60 naira or thereabout. Okay? I don't think they will take that now.
They would. They will have reviewed it.
It has been reviewed.
But that is it. So they now get about 20 to 30, 40 million naira furniture allowance.
So the conversation comes back to who
should
are
change
the group of people that should begin to raise issues around us reviewing.
The interest group, Labour.
NECA is doing quite a bit.
Labour.
NECA is doing quite a bit.
Okay.
The Chartered Institute of Personnel Management is also doing a bit, but we need more.
Okay. Hello, there's somebody on the line. Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Okay, I have a contribution to make concerning what you are saying.
Go ahead.
You are blaming the Indians and the Lebanese.
No, we're not blaming the Indians and Lebanese. We're talking about
federal government state government have not been able to pay salary. Some states are owing salary of about 4 months.
Even much more.
Some states.
Okay, so his point is clear.
His point
is clear. We should not blame Lebanese and Indians.
There
are some Nigerians who are doing worse than that, especially the government. So what is the...
I think the government must know that the labor, are the custodian of the productivity of a state.
Okay.
So if they're not treated well, there is no productivity. But you know what? The governors know that what is productivity? Is it not for us to get money for the next election? And then so the priorities are misplaced. For some states, they couldn't pay for 6 months and people are still working. I'm asking questions, what are you still doing there? And then you see them, they still go to office and you're asking them, how are you surviving? And
because if they can't pay salaries, when you have health issues,
how will you even
bother as well
about that?
I want to ask a question now, talking about those health issues. So for instance, we're talking about having health checks.
Yes.
When you employ somebody. So I give you an offer, you accept the offer, and then you have accepted the offer. That's when you come into the organization and then we do the health checks. Or before you give you offer.
You should do it before.
So what if you say, but you have not offered me the job, I'm not sure that I want to do the job now. So why are you doing, why am I doing the health check?
It's, when we talked about that, I said it's pretty tricky. So in the first place, you shouldn't discriminate against me and say I'm not hiring you because you have this health challenge.
But I can say I'm not hiring
You
you because
because-
of epilepsy as a driver.
Yes, you can. But
And then I'm sued. Because I'm bringing this point very clearly, because we've seen a situation where, and you know, which is also why I'm saying that in thinking about that, let's also think about small organizations, small businesses.
Okay.
So you come in, I do that, and then you were saying to me, do the health check before I now give you an offer letter. So I do a health check, and it's found out that you have epilepsy, or there's a tendency for you to have a heart, a cardiac arrest, or you can't see properly, and you're not willing to wear glasses. And so I refuse to offer you. And then the person says, you know, you took me through the whole process of doing a health check, and you are not giving me an employment.
Which is why you should make it
you
a
would answer.
path,
You would answer her, and then you talk about the productivity angle when we come back after this break. All right. Welcome back. So we're talking about productivity now.
Yes.
You were about responding to her when we...
So the point here is, on the employer side, you have your policies that is hugely tied to what you do, the peculiarities of your industry.
Sure.
So I can, for instance, go work in Southern Oil and Gas Company and not be able to swim.
Okay.
They've made that provision within their policy,
Offshore.
and that offshore. You can't. You just can't. Or else the organization is open to some risk that they shouldn't be bearing in the first place. And that gives them the right to say this is our recruitment process. And that way no one comes through that is not supposed to be in the organization. And that's the angle that we are talking about.
Understood.
Don't be caught unawares.
Understood.
So let me take it from this angle to answer your question. For a driver, your productivity is
tied to your site.
to your site, driving in the day, driving in the night. When I discover that you can't even see well in the night, you
can't see well in the day.
So I have the right to say, this is what the job entails. I'm sorry.
You are not fit for this
Not that I'm not taking you because
you have.
So it is right that if your health would affect productivity, I can decide not to employ you.
Exactly. Depending on what productivity is to that organization, what is required. If you don't have it, then you
like, okay, you know, the people with the best eyesight, as I understand, are those linesmen at lawn tennis competition. When they see that, but they tell you it's out, they check it's out.
Yes.
Those kind of people with that kind of vision. So you expect the driver to have that kind of sharp
Yeah,
vision.
exactly. Because
you owe it to yourself to do the test. I mean,
so that they don't
beyond just sight, reflexes. What are your reflexes? What's your temper?
Mental state.
What's your mental state? What's your temper like on the steering? I mean,
so sometimes we also go close to their family
to have an idea.
Because if you have a rough family, you have to go to family.
But do we really go this extent?
We should.
Which is why we are saying,
that's what we're saying.
What is your recruitment process like? That's what we're saying. And look at the peculiarity of your organization. I know a few people who even say, before we employ you and give you an offer letter, like we were talking offline, we expect you to do some tests, send in some reports. I don't give you a job as an employer because you want a job. I give you a job because I have seen you fit to do the job.
You know, on this health issue, I was listening to the radio on my way here, and one of the things that someone said on radio was that most embassies don't even respect doctors' reports anymore. It has to be from a particular hospital because it's been doctored. So again, if I say to you, okay, go and bring it.
Oh yes. I flew into Ghana after getting a yellow
and it will be
yellow card.
They will
when
check
I got
it.
the Ghanaian
They will check it.
I said, you have to apply for another one. I said, what happened to this? She said, did you do this test? I said, I went there. Anyway, well, so we health is important. Health affects productivity, and as an employer of labor, you need to check all your staff before you employ them, because if it's going to affect the quality of staff you have and the productivity as well, then you need and you must check it out. Then we need to begin to review our laws to make sure it covers the health insurance of people, and so that we can have a better and stronger labor force.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Remy, for coming. Thank you, Benga. And on behalf of Imi, sign us off.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and hope to see you next week. Next week, we'll be talking about something very interesting as well. So